Ai, meu Deus do céu! Vocês estão entendendo o quanto de jacaré...
The woods do not care about you. Neither does the savannah, the riverbank, or the campground that looked perfectly safe when you pulled in at sunset. Every year, people zip themselves into a thin piece of fabric, close their eyes, and trust that nothing out there will come looking. Most of the time, they are right. But sometimes, in the middle of the night, something finds them anyway. Tonight, we are looking at the moments that did not stay hidden, the ones that got caught on camera, the ones that will make you reconsider every camping trip you have ever planned. These are the scariest camping encounters that will freeze you in fear. This is the scary moment a camper in Botswana woke up to the sight of 3 lions pressing their bodies against the outside of his tent, licking the water right off the fabric. Yes, those are 3 lions, that close, with nothing between them and a human but a thin sheet of wet material. The camper lay there, with bated breath, barely moving, and not making a single sound. Because what else could he do? If those lions had not been thirsty that morning but had woken up hungry instead, that tent fabric would not have slowed them down for even a second. There would have been no warning, no time to react, nothing to grab. The camper would have gone from deep sleep to a fight for survival, with no chance of winning. 3 of the most powerful predators on the planet, and he was curled up inside something thinner than a raincoat. Some people go their whole lives without coming that close to getting unalived. This man braved his way through it. This is the moment an explorer woke up, unzipped his tent, and came face to face with some of the most dangerous creatures found in the wild.
Ai, meu Deus do céu! Vocês estão entendendo o quanto de jacaré tem aqui? Ai, meu Deus. Eu tô na barraca literalmente pra acampar. Vamos dormir aqui, guys?
Teu cu.
Ferrou meu...
But if you look closer at that clip, you will notice it was not just a few alligators near the tent. Look further out into the darkness. There are many more, and you can tell by those glowing, reflective eyes staring back. Imagine counting those eyes and realizing there were more than you could keep track of. Alligators do not charge like lions or bears. They wait. They are patient in a way that should terrify you, because by the time one decides to move, it is already too late. If that explorer had stepped out of his tent without looking, if he had walked even a few feet in the wrong direction in the dark, he would have stepped right into a trap nature had been quietly building around him all night long. Nobody knew where he was. Nobody was coming. This is the scary moment a camper woke up to find that his tent had been completely covered in a swarm of mosquitoes from the outside.
Кажется, сейчас будет шок-контент.
Я что?
Как нам продолжать поход?
Those mosquitoes likely swarmed that tent due to carbon dioxide, heat, and moisture from the campers, which attract these insects. The campsite's location near water or dense vegetation probably increased mosquito presence, and even the lights inside the tent or small openings in the mesh could have also drawn. But the campers did not know any of that. They just stared in stunned silence at what had become, without warning, a genuinely dangerous situation. Mosquitoes are not just annoying. In the right part of the world, a swarm like that is a delivery system for malaria, dengue, yellow fever, and worse. Think about where that campsite was. Think about what diseases those insects could have been carrying. Every tiny gap in that mesh, every moment the zipper was not perfectly sealed, was an invitation. The campers thought they were watching something disgusting. They might not have understood until days later, running a fever in a hospital somewhere, that the real danger had been invisible all along. Here is the terrifying footage of a group of campers out on the African plains, and the moment everything went wrong when the king of the jungle came out patrolling. At some point, a camper poked out his head to see if they were fully gone, but boy was he wrong. That camper who peeked out was lucky. The lion that turned toward him could have closed that distance in under 3 seconds. There would have been no time to pull back, no time to zip up the tent, no time to do anything but watch it happen, and even after negotiate. On July 16, 2014, YouTuber 5Gomez5 went camping in the woods. Then, in the middle of the night, he and his friend decided to step outside, and what stood in front of them was something they could never have prepared themselves for.
I'm not bullshitting, man. Like, this is not.
Join, Luke Skywalker.
No, he's cool. He's gonna take off. He's taking off.
Yeah, he's a little dude.
He looks cool. You can't see with me shining the light.
Briar. You fucked up the movie, dude.
You can't see when I put the light. I swear we could pet him.
Even though they were scared, these two campers held their ground. They tried to make the bear believe that they were not afraid, standing tall and shining a torch directly at it. It was a gamble, a dangerous one. But did their strategy work?
We should throw him a chicken, huh?
Fuck no.
Throw two.
Walk right up there. Here's going for the Friday.
It's the same bear. No, that looks like a bigger bear. That's a bigger bear.
Yeah. They're playing now. What?
Standing your ground against a bear sounds brave, and sometimes it works, but sometimes it does not. If that bear had read their body language differently, if it had taken their stillness as a challenge rather than a warning, the outcome of that night would have been very different. Two people, no weapons, in the middle of the woods at night. The torch they were shining would not have stopped a charging bear. It would have just lit up what was coming. On a weekend in summer, a couple went camping at the Iron Mountain Campground in Arkansas, a site maintained by the Corps of Engineers. They had been visiting that same campground for 15 years and had never once had a problem with insects. This trip would be different. From the moment they arrived, the ants were everywhere. The ground was crawling with them. They got into the chairs, the picnic table, basically every fixed surface around the site, and even the inside of the cooler. They had just bought a brand new tent, and they figured that at least would be a safe place to sleep. It was not, because around 1 in the morning, after hours of lying awake with the constant urge to swat at invisible crawling, the wife switched on her flashlight. What she saw made her stomach drop.
Yeah, I guess these things are super, There's like 2 in here.
A tent full of ants sounds more miserable than dangerous, and that night they were fortunate that the ants were not the biting kind. but swap out that species for fire ants, which are found across Arkansas and the southern United States, and picture waking up at 1 in the morning covered in them. Fire ant stings deliver venom. Hundreds of stings at once can cause a severe allergic reaction, and for someone with an undiagnosed allergy, that kind of exposure can be fatal within minutes. Alone at a campsite, in the dark, 40 minutes from the nearest town. The new tent would not have saved them from that. On October 17th, 2023, YouTuber Dokwa went camping in the woods. It was morning time and he decided to zip open his tent, only for him to see this. Despite zipping up his tent immediately, the bear had already spotted him. Whatever the bear intended, whether it was curious, playing, or genuinely considering an attack, the explorer could not know. All he knew was that it was not leaving, and he was trapped inside a tent with nowhere to run.
Ah! Ah! Ah!
The scariest part of that clip is not the bear itself. It is the moment he zipped the tent back up, because now he had made himself invisible again, but the bear already knew he was in there. A tent does not hide your scent. It does not muffle your breathing or your heartbeat. That bear could smell exactly where he was and exactly how scared he was. Although he made it out safely, his being alive was pure luck. If the bear had really intended to harm him, that tiny piece of fabric would not have stopped him. In July 2024, YouTuber Brendan Explores went on a stealth camping trip to Lake Burnley in Wales. He set out to enjoy the lakeside and a quiet night under the stars, but nobody could have expected what awaited him instead.
We're currently on our way to a lovely little spot called Lake Burnley, but we're invading Wales tonight on a sneaky little stealth camp, hopefully by the lakeside of Lake Burnley. We've got some beautiful food to cook up tonight, but I'll show you that a bit later on. So this is the other side to the walk. We've just gone up the one way. It's basically like a loop walk. It takes about 20 minutes. I think it took me about maybe 10-15 minutes to get to the waterfall. And there we are, back at the car park. Just while I go and find a park up for tonight's dinner.
After exploring the area and cooking a late-night meal, his evening took a tense turn when a van pulled up at 3:30 a.m., shining its lights directly on his car.
Bed and wake up to that beautiful view. If you don't hear from me, then I've had a good night's sleep. I'll see you guys in the morning. See headlights. Who was that? He just drove off. Didn't shout anything. Didn't ask if anyone's in here. Gave a couple knocks, shone the light in, and drove off. I thought someone would come back then, Jesus. What do I do? What do I do? The fact that they left makes me think that they're probably just going to leave me be now. I'm going to see how it goes for the next half hour or so. What time is it? About 3:30, a van pulled up, lights turned on directly at the car. No one got out. Probably for about 15 minutes, the car was just sat there with the lights shining on the car. I decided not to move because I'd already bed down for the night. It was gone, well, by the time they'd left, it had nearly 4 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't going to be long before the daylight hit.
Clearly terrified by the unusual encounter, he stayed awake for hours that night, getting only 2 hours of sleep before driving off, and he never returned to that place again. This man went camping alone, deep in the woods, far enough out that there was no cell phone signal where he had set up camp. He had no weapon, no dog, no one with him. Then, in the middle of the pitch-black night, his tent suddenly collapsed on top of him. He could hear footsteps outside, multiple sets of footsteps. He called out, yelled into the dark, trying to figure out who or what was out there. Nothing answered. The footsteps kept moving. Terrified, he made the decision to leave everything behind and get out as fast as he could.
Hello? Hello? I don't know what this is, but we're getting out of here. Hang on. Hello? Okay, they're bent on me. I don't know which way they went. I think they went this way. I see you. Get away! All right, I'm spooked. I don't like this. Get my headlamp on and we're getting out of here right now. They're just standing there. They're just standing there. What do you want? Leave me alone! They're moving again. I don't know. I'm getting out of here. We're going. I'll come back for this some other time.
Even as he moved through the woods, trying to reach safety, he could smell cigarette smoke in the air and hear footsteps that seemed to follow alongside him in the dark.
Out of here. I'm leaving. Don't follow me. I don't know where to go. I don't know which way to get out of here. I smell your cigarette. I can hear you. I hear you. This has got to lead back to the main trail. I don't know where they are. I think it's all foggy up here. I got water in my headlamp. I don't know where to go. I don't see or hear anybody anymore. I hear them coming. I can't see the shadow. Here's a path. Okay, get me there. I'm recording all of this. I'm calling up police. All right, I'm back on the path. Back on the path. Okay. Okay. Get away from me!
Teenagers pulling pranks do not collapse someone's tent and then stay completely silent no matter how many times they are shouted at. They do not follow a man through the woods at 2 in the morning without saying a word. Something was out there, and it knew he was alone. It knew there was no phone signal. It knew there was no one coming. The cigarette smell is what makes this one so hard to shake, because that is a human detail. Animals do not smoke. Whatever was out there that night was not lost. It was watching. On July 1st, 2021, 2 campers on the Botswana side of the Alligators Transfrontier Park stepped out of their tent in the morning to start their day and came back to find a lion waiting for them.
All right, we have a bit of a problem now because the lion is eating Andy's pillow and we can't get out the car. Andy, was that a
little bit shaky. Lion just went into our tent.
It was in our tent and then it came out with Andy's pillow. Now it's sitting under the tree over there, eating the pillow.
Instead of retreating when the campers returned, the lion moved closer. Then it walked inside the tent. The campers honked their horn over and over, trying to drive it out. The lion did not react.
Okay, now he's going to go and get my pillow. Oh, my dear. He got snapped.
At some point, their effort paid off and they managed to scare it out of their tent. Still, the lion didn't run away into the wilds immediately and instead decided to do this.
Plug this in. There's our chair.
After dashing into the wild, the lion pulled a surprise by appearing again.
Look for another pillow.
They finally managed to drive it away for good, but it had already torn through their belongings, and the damage it left behind made it very clear how easily things could have ended differently if they hadn't spotted the lion and had walked into their tent immediately.
Put a bit of lion slobber on it. Otherwise, absolutely fine. A pillow? Why not? 100%. It's just a bit of lion slobber.
Why do you have the camera turned around?
My bag. Let's have a look inside the tent. He's ripped my bag open.
A lion that does not flinch at a car horn is a lion that has stopped being afraid of people. That is one of the most dangerous things a wild predator can become. If those campers had still been inside the tent when it walked in, there would have been no escape. A lion inside a tent is not a lion you can run from. You are in its space, in its grip, before you even know what is happening. The fact that both campers survived that encounter was not because they did everything right. It was because the lion, for reasons of its own, chose to walk away. On May 25th, 2018, YouTuber Lost Lakes went solo camping in what is widely considered the black bear capital of the world, and it was not long before something dangerous found him.
Well, I am living every solo camper's nightmare right now. There appears to be an animal of some kind pacing around my tent. It's the middle of the night. I woke up at 3 a.m. and just couldn't sleep. And then around 3:30, I started to hear this pacing sound. And 45 minutes later, it's still just pacing around out there.
Even though fear was clearly setting in, YouTuber Lost Lakes had come ready. He walked his viewers through his first line of defense.
To keep the Paranoia away, as I call it, we got three main tools. If you're a solo camper, I think these are well worth having with you. Even in the backcountry, it's a little extra weight, but a little air horn. That's the first line of defense, along with the headlamp. The bright light can be a good tool in trying to blind an animal that has much better night vision than ours, but would be very sensitive to light.
Then he explained the second and final layer of protection standing between him and whatever was circling outside.
Second line of defense, if the thing starts poking its nose at the tent, then I have got this little hatchet here, which I could whack it with this like sheath on, and worst case take the sheath off. And then last line of defense, you might think this would be the second one, is the bear spray. If I use the bear spray in the tent, I'm going to get blinded and incapacitated, probably more than, let's say, a bear. If it is a bear, if it were to try and raid my tent, I'm probably going to get the worst of it. The idea being that hopefully it also gets hit. And
not long after, his worst fear started to materialize when he felt something touch his tent.
So I can hear everything on the gravel. I can hear all the footsteps, but anyway, the talking isn't making it go away, but it hasn't made a move toward the tent yet, so I don't know. Maybe it's just curious, and maybe it's biding its time for an attack. I don't know. But anyway, if you're a solo camper, these are some good ways to keep your sanity. So a few bonus items. Something literally just touched my
Despite the overwhelming feeling that he needed to get out there and pee, he knew he could not, or else he might be making himself easy prey for whatever was out there lurking in the dark.
There's no cell signal here. And third, I have to pee. It's really just comical, almost. And despite the paranoia, I found myself almost falling asleep here again. It's amazing how you can, I don't know, just your brain starts to forget about the threat after it's been over an hour now. Anywho, it's almost daylight, so that'll make everything okay.
Bladder pressure at the worst possible moment sounds almost comical, but think about what it would actually feel like to lie there, every nerve in your body on alert, something moving against the outside of your tent, and knowing that the one thing your body desperately needs to do would mean stepping out into the dark alone. YouTuber Lost Lakes had prepared for a bear encounter. He had not prepared for 2 hours of silent, suffocating waiting with nothing to do but listen. That kind of fear does not leave you quickly. This is the terrifying moment an explorer understood that he was probably not going to survive the night. He had been camping alone, deep in the woods. What started as a quiet adventure turned into something that felt like a nightmare. Without warning, he was attacked with arrows. This is the only footage that survived. Arrows mean a person, not an animal, not a trick of the dark, not a sound you can explain away. A person who had watched him set up camp, who knew he was alone, and who made the decision to attack, deep in the woods, no signal, no one nearby. Running in the dark through unfamiliar terrain while someone with a weapon is behind you is not a situation where preparation helps. The only thing that could have saved him was luck, and the fact that this footage exists at all means someone wanted the world to know what happened out there. In August 2025, YouTuber D from D's Dark Adventure was invited to a farm by owners who had been experiencing something they couldn't explain. Figures running across their fields and vanishing into the tree line. Voices coming from the cornfield at night. They told her it had started 2 years ago when they moved in, but now that the corn had grown tall, whatever was out there had started getting closer to the house.
So she saw my other cornfield video and she said it's not as violent because they've not made it this far, but this is the first year it's had corn. She's had issues with her dogs doing this. She can hear things running. She hears voices. But the previous years, it was just beans. And same thing, she could see figures. But now that the cornfield's up, they're getting really close to the property.
The moment Dee walked toward the field, their dogs went ballistic, barking and clawing at the dirt, refusing to follow. She pushed in anyway, and almost immediately things started happening. Strange howls from deeper than the dogs could reach, movement in the stalks, something dark watching him from behind the corn.
What was that? I'm hearing a howling. That's not those dogs. It's coming from that way. Those dogs can't go that far. They're on a restraint thingy. Okay. Airplane. It is, but it's up high. Oh my God.
She called out, tried to announce herself, got no answer, just more rustling, more shapes slipping between the rows.
My name is Dee. I have been invited by the homeowners and the property owners to be here, so please understand. What is that? Dear, what is that? I don't know what the hell I'm looking at right now, guys. What in the fuck? Dude, hi, hello. I don't want to blind them. Let's bring it to my left. Hello. They're looking at me from the side of the tree, dude. What is that chirping? Where'd they go? Yeah, okay, what is that? Hello, hi. My name is Dee, and I have been invited. I don't know what that is, dude.
Then she heard it, a voice saying hello back to her from somewhere in the field.
Hi. Hello? Hi. I just heard a hi.
She kept going, but the deeper she pushed, the worse it got. Something large lying in the broken corn. Tremors shaking the stalks around her, sounds she'd never heard before.
Look, something was laying here. Something big. It was laying right there. Oh my God. What is that? No, the dog, listen. I can't. Oh my God. Ear dropping. There's a lot of laid down and broken in the middle of this. I don't know if I can get you guys up high enough. Oh, what was that? There's that chitter again.
By the end, she was barely holding it together, apologizing to the camera, saying she couldn't go any further.
I don't like that blackness like that. It's huge. Dude, screw that. I can't do this. I'm sorry, guys. I tried. I held out as long as I could. I couldn't even go in there far enough. This is another thing that...
What was answering her from inside that cornfield? What were those figures the owners kept seeing? And why did everything on that property seem to know she was coming? On July 3rd, 2014, 4 black bears prowled around YouTuber Rob Patton's RV in Longwood, Florida, while he slept inside. If YouTuber Rob Patton had not activated his night camera before going to sleep, he never would have known those 4 bears spent the night circling his vehicle. The camera caught every moment, even as the bears eventually lost interest and moved on. Four bears around a vehicle is not random. Bears that comfortable with a parked RV are bears that have been around humans before. They know what the smells mean. They know what is inside. If YouTuber Rob Patton had left a window cracked, if the door had not been properly latched, if one of those bears had found a way in, waking up would have meant waking up to 4 black bears at close range in a confined space. There is no version of that story where the bear is the one that does not make it out. You are about to get just as much of a shock as this camper did the morning he woke up and opened his eyes to find an enormous animal staring directly at him through the tent.
What the?
What if that animal had not just been looking? Some creatures examine their prey curiously before they display their beastly nature, and there is no way to know which one you are dealing with until it is already too late. This camper woke up to a face pressed against his tent. What if he had stretched his arm out in his sleep and touched it first? What if he had startled and screamed? One wrong move, and that quiet morning in the wild becomes something else entirely.